Hello and welcome to the Babbles Travelling Yarns podcast. I am Grace, your host. I am an Irish girl who's currently living in Ireland. It's called Babbles Travelling Yarns because I was travelling when I started this podcast. I still do a fair bit of travelling and I've got a huge event coming up next week. Oh, Edinburgh Yarn Festival! I'm so excited! But yeah, for now, I have a couple of things to talk to you about. Some things that I am knitting, some things that I have just finished weaving, and a few podcasts which I've fallen in love with the last week. So what I will start off with is my only finished object for this week. It's a pretty special object. It's been on the loom for a long friggin' time. It is my double weave project. Now I did put a sneak peek up on Instagram, and I will pop in the video, the reveal. It's super exciting. So what happened was the loom is woven half. It's woven in half like this. So it is constantly folded on the loom as you're weaving it. You're weaving over the top and then you're weaving the bottom, weaving up and like that the whole time, weaving a C shape. So I didn't really know what it was going to look like, but here is what it looked like when it came off. It came off last night, so the video is quite dark, but I think you'll like it anyway. So I know this is really crappy light, but I just finished my epic weave and I have to video it, right? It's the rules. So it's about to be cut off the loom. Some Kopparberg fancy raspberry drink. What's it called? Premium cider Kopparberg with raspberry. It's like juice, whatever. So I've done a hem stitch. I figured out how to do the hem stitch on the double warp. Involved lifting up and actually hemming from the underside. Super fun. So let's take it off and see how much I have. Eek. Eek. Okay. Right. I'm going to come at it from another angle. I'm just going to take it off from back here. I don't know if you guys can see, but here it goes. Yay! 2 heddles, free. It's like having needles free. Let's undo that. Ooh, I love a long fringe actually, that's quite lovely. I might leave it like that. Ooh, hey, that's pretty nice. Oh, alright, here we are. So let's just take that off. Over to the side and we'll see. Alrighty. So the length of the scarf, it's about a metre long. About a metre. And here it is. Oh my god, it worked. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is just because I haven't taken out the original warp. Look at it! Oh my goodness! Beans! Don't you love it? Oh, that's satisfying. Oh yes. Very nice. Now, so it's a lovely wrap size actually. I was wondering what I was going to do with it, but so it's a little tight here. I was trying to be nice and loose, but it is a little tight there, so it does fold. However, it just needs to be finished and we'll see how we go. So it's very tight at the start and then it gets much better as I come to the end, and the weave gets looser as well. And I think it worked out. My lines worked out okay. So that's awesome. I did a lot less yellow near the end because I was running out. God, I love it. I'll have to go to some Tipperary games now. Yay! So that was so exciting. So here it is. It's blocked, it's washed, and I was on the virtual knit night last night, and I did a little macrame edge on one of the edges. I'm still not quite sure, but this is the piece. Now my mum was over and she said, oh, it'd be lovely throw and a lovely beach chair, and I'm like, actually yes. I've had a couple of people say it's a lovely like warm scarf. It's really like cozy. It's got these long fringes going on. So this is the macrame edge which I was playing with. I quite like it. It's quite nice. I think I'd have to do it to the other side as well. But I also really love this very simple straight hem stitching. I can't decide. Can I just have one like one side and one the other side? I'm not sure. There was also, I did a live Instagram. You can find me on Instagram as Vanna Willamille if you're wondering. I do a lot of stories on there because I can't stop talking about myself. But, so they were saying that I could make it into a skirt, because what I could do is cut it in half and fold the top edges over, pop a little elastic through, and I could pick up the edges here and knit like a triangular short row section on both sides, and I'd have a little skirt. I'm not sure if I'd wear the colours, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Will I wait until I have a fancy summer house in about 60 years? I'm a millennial. I'm never gonna have any money, whatever. So that's probably not gonna happen. So I'll probably just wear it as a scarf for now and see how we go. I do love it. However, I don't think the double weave was worth it. It was a lot of work. It stayed on my loom for way too long. I didn't really enjoy it too much. I got into the hang of it eventually, but I don't know. Anyway, I think if I need to make fabric big enough to make clothes out of, I'm just going to weave strips and then sew them together. My cat is in her little kitty litter place and she's digging for Ireland. Beans, are you finished? He's out, okay. So I do love it. It's so soft. The yarn is Circus Tonic Handmade in her Revelry base, which is Australian superwash merino and nylon, I think. It is, I can't remember the names of the colors now. It's not Greyhawk. They're beautiful. Circus Tonic Handmade. Thank you, Hannah. It's a bright, sunny scarf, summery scarf, reminding me of the bright, sunny, summery Sydney that you're having right now. So we've been locked in snow. The massive storm Emma and the beast from the east collided over Ireland and destroyed the nation. It actually, we got about maybe a foot of snow in Limerick, and then it lasted for one day and then went away. It's fine. The problem is the country is not used to it, that we only get snow maybe once every 10 years. So we don't have any snow plows. We don't have any, we have a gritter that might go up and down the motorway, but it never comes into the estates or any of the, you know, it only does like the main roads. And to be honest, it never really froze where I was. Now my aunt is still covered in snow. She is still under almost a metre of snow up in the Wicklow Mountains where she is. So some parts of the country did get it very seriously inundated, and a lot of my colleagues all over the country had to stay in the hospitals and work in the hospitals, like just double shifts, because staff couldn't get in and staff couldn't get home. So it was quite serious, but it's all kind of melting away, I think going away slowly. There's a lot of snow on the ground still, most of the country, but anyway. Oh, by the way, it's March, 1st of March in 2018. It's not the 1st of March, it's like the 5th. It's the 4th, Sunday the 4th of March, everybody. Happy March. And yes, we got a massive snowstorm. And the entire country went mad. There was no bread in the land because there was warnings about this storm for almost a week beforehand. So everyone went mad looking for bread and milk. So the whole place was cleared out. The whole, like, oh my God, bread-mageddon. Bread Armageddon, I'm telling you that much. It's kind of hilarious that the memes that are coming, other memes coming out of it are so funny. Oh. But I was nice and cozy and warm walking to work, and I could walk to work, so it was no problem for me getting in and out of work. So that's all fine. Everyone's fine. Everything is fine. And everyone's laughing at us for not being able to cope with real snow, but it's fine. So I managed to get this off of the loom last night, which was amazing because it was hanging on there for way too long. And I love it. Oh, also, I was on the virtual knit night last night, International Virtual Knit Nights, hosted by Phil and Eleni. There's an amazing interview with them on the Slow Knitter podcast. And you should all head over if you're interested in the virtual knit nights at all. It's a really, really good interview, and Phil and Eleni explain all about the atmosphere about it, how they took over from me when I was hosting it in 2017. The interview is fantastic with Phil and Eleni, and Rena is an amazing interviewer. Amazing. So yeah, Slow Knitter podcast with Eleni and Phil of the International Virtual Knit Nights. So yeah, I was on the International Virtual Knit Nights last night, and Laura Denis, hi Laura, when I brought this up, she said, I think it was her, but she automatically thought of Sheldon and his outfit for Halloween one year when he dressed as the Doppler effect. So this is my Doppler effect woven shawl. So what I wanted to do was have almost like a tartany. So the stripes were matching the warp stripes matched the weft stripes. And it kind of worked out that way, except I didn't measure anything. So it's more regular down here. And then I kind of got a bit lost. I started running out of yellow as well, so I just did a load of yellow. So there you go. That's my shawl. I love it. I love it so much. I'm probably just going to keep it as a scarf, as a big warm cozy scarf. It's amazing to me that I made this amount of fabric. And also this long fringe is driving me wild with love. I love it so much. Fringe forever, babies. Anyway, yeah. So cozy. I'm going to take it off now though, because I've got big red lipstick on and I don't want to stain it. So I blocked it, or sorry, I wet finished it, which is the same as blocking. Somebody said it wasn't. I was like, it is. You just, I mean, you can be a little bit heavier with it. You can be a little bit more rough with it because you actually want it to felt a little bit. You want it to kind of cozy up and fuzz up a little bit just so everything stays the way it is. Oh, how much yarn did I use? This is only 2 skeins. The size of it. The size of it. It's only 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. I wove it on a 7.5 dent reed, and that meant that a 7.5 dent reed is normally used for double knitting weight yarn, DK weight yarn, or worsted weight yarn, but it was only fingering weight, so it's a little bit of a lighter fabric. You can kind of see through it a little bit, but I don't mind. It's absolutely lovely. It's lovely and drapey. I love it so much. It's so cozy. So fabulous, lovely. Like a fingering weight shawl. It's a fingering weight shawl. Fringe for days. Cool. Now that's my finished object. Thank you so much to Hannah for making the yarn, and Wingham Woolworks for sending across my loom. This is what I made it on back here. I made it on the 16-inch Ashford rigid heddle loom, and I did a double weave on it. I think I said that probably 5 times. That's okay. So what have I been knitting? So I've got 2 KALs going on at the moment. I have got the paddysdaykal, which is where you knit with anything, any green yarn, or spin with any green fibre, and or if you have some Irish yarn by any Irish dyer, or dyer that dyes in Ireland. They don't have to be Irish. They just have to be in Ireland dyeing. So hedgehog fibres counts, and you know, there's a lot of dyers who aren't Irish but they are in Ireland dyeing yarn, if you know what I mean. It's very international, you know. Yeah, so any Irish yarn you can knit with, tag on Instagram. It's only an Instagram giveaway. Tag on Instagram for the month of March and I'll send out this beautiful skein of, this is a sock set, Strand Designs, hand dyed yarns. It's a self-striping yarn in the colour Patrick's Day colour. It's gorgeous. So it is 50 grams of the self-striping and 20 grams of the heel, toes and cuffs colour. Beautiful Irish St. Patrick's Day. What more can you want? So St. Patrick's Day is on the 17th of March, in case you don't know. It is the patron saint day of Ireland. St. Patrick was actually a Welshman who came over and brought Christendom to Ireland. He did it in a, apparently, it's all rumours now, you know, it's all very, very long ago, so we don't really know what went on, but apparently he was kidnapped, brought over here, and he, I think he escaped and became a priest. He was a very religious man, and then he came back to Ireland. He saw it as his duty to educate the heathens, and he used the shamrock to display the Holy Trinity, which is God, Jesus and the Holy Ghost. So the shamrock has 3 kind of heart-shaped leaves. It's quite small, teeny flower, or tiny petal, but the shamrock is also the Irish flower, like the English is the rose and the Scottish is the thistle and the Welsh is the leek. So yeah, the shamrock is ours because of St. Patrick. Oh, and also he banished all the snakes. Thanks, St. Patrick, thanks. Great lad. Yeah, so St. Patrick's Day is celebrated on the 17th of March, and it's celebrated by lots of parades and local, like, little Boy Scouts and stuff like that, and also drinking a lot. Lots of drinking, because it's a bank holiday, so everyone gets drunk, yay! And that's what happens all around the world. People also celebrate, especially in Boston, New York, lots of festivals where there was big Irish populations, in the States and Canada and all over the shop. And that's what we're mostly known for. There you go, short history of St. Patrick's Day. In case you didn't know, maybe there are some people in this world that don't know about St. Patrick's Day. I'm not just assuming. So for my paddysdaykal, I am knitting with some super green yarn. Isn't this beautiful? This is actually an off color of Philias Yarns. It's supposed to be the Tamegrout color. I don't know what color actually the Tamegrout is, but this is beautiful. So it's absolutely lovely. I bought this at Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year, and it's going into my Edinburgh Yarn Festival sweater this year, which I think is going to be a thing. Although I have enough sweater quantities to do me forever at this stage. So this is, so Edinburgh Yarn Festival is going to take place on St. Patrick's Day. It's on from the 15th, 16th and 17th of March, which is a Thursday, Friday and Saturday. And there's also something going on Sunday, but I won't be there for that. So this is my Vianne sweater, Vianne cardigan by Andi Satturland. And look how much I've done. I finished the body and I've got one sleeve, and I've just done the sleeve caps for the, how amazing are short row sleeves. How amazing. I of course managed to mess it up. But here's me hoping no one will notice. Don't look too close, okay? If you do, don't tell me. So the sweater has this beautiful lace detail down the front panels. So I'm going to finish off the other sleeve, and I just have to pick up for the button band, and it's got this lovely mesh on the back. So I knit this a little bit longer than I probably was supposed to. I think the decreases were meant to be faster and shorter, but I quite like the length The only thing is that I decreased and I never increased again. So it's just gone past my waist. So I'm a little bit worried that it's too small here. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna short row this bad boy. So for the button band, if it ends up being too tight around my belly, I'm gonna do a little bit of a short row increase down here so it'll join together. Short row queen. But look how beautiful these are, this short row bit. I mean, it's the prettiest. I used, I didn't do wraps and turns because, horrible. I did German short rows, which is where you knit and then you pull it around the back and then you knit, as in, so you tighten it a lot so that it looks like you've got 2 stitches because they've been pulled across. The last stitch has been pulled across the needle and then you knit back, turn around and back. And then you come across and you knit them again. They're amazing. Look them up if you haven't, because they're so pretty. Like, you really, can you tell that there's anything going on there? A little, like you can tell obviously that I'm increasing, but there's no holes. You know, that's just picked up stitches over there. Yeah, I'm loving it. Oh, I also fudged up royally on the increases or decreases for the arm. See if you can tell what I did. I increased way too fast all at the start, but I don't have time to go back and do it again because Edinburgh Yarn Festival is next week. So I'm just gonna copy it and do the same on the other side. It's fine. It fits fine. It looks fine when it's on. Who cares? Nobody cares. Anyway, when I was knitting this, when I was putting it on and stuff, it seemed really big up there. And Vianne as well, Kristen was saying that the sleeves are quite big on her chuck, and I think it's done the same way. So I'm not too ashamed that I decreased rapidly. It's fine. Knitting stretches. It fits what it fits. So yeah, that's what I've got to finish for Edinburgh Yarn Festival. So paddysdaykal, knit all your, tag all your green projects, paddysdaykal, and if you've got any Irish yarn, you don't have to finish anything, and whips are allowed. Super, super. Just tag paddysdaykal. Now, so yeah, I think I might, I don't know if I'm gonna get away with one more ball of yarn, but I have another one as well. So I had 5 balls of yarn. This so far is 2 and like, so it's basically 3 balls of yarn. I have this much left and a swatch. I have this much left. So this is 3 balls of yarn. This is the 4th one. It's going to be, I'm going to stripe it with this because it's indie dyed. So I do want to alternate skeins. So I'm just alternating that last little bit all the way down until I run out. And then I'm going to use this and maybe, I don't know. I don't think I'll need more than this for, I don't know. I have another ball of yarn, so that's great. So this is almost, wait, was that 2 or 3? Yeah, that's 3, sorry. That sweater is 3 balls of yarn. And so I bought 5, so I have 2 left at this stage. And I have most of a sleeve and the button band to do. Maybe. It's DK weight yarn and it's lovely. Perfect. I'm knitting it on size 4mm needles, I believe. Size 5mm needles. It's quite a large gauge on it, and I'm going down to 4 for the ribbing just because I like quite a tight ribbing, so I'm dropping down quite significantly on needle size for that. Now, what else am I making? Oh yes, my other KAL. This is my epic along. So my epic along is, are you reading my my thingies that I need to do? These are my jobs up there, and this is my shopping list. And basically it's what I live on. Garlic, ginger, cauliflower, tinned tomatoes, coconut milk, olive oil, bread and sugar. Amazing. Now let's get away from that so it doesn't distract you. You're supposed to be looking at me. So my epic along is about, it started off as knitting a sweater for your loved one. And by the end I hope you still love them, because it's a lot of work, lads, for someone else. I am knitting the Nahani river vest, It started off as knitting something for your loved one. This is something for James, my boyfriend. And but it kind of opened out into knitting something epic that, you know, will probably take you 6 months to do. So some people are knitting their first sweater for themselves because maybe they don't have a significant other that is knit worthy, or maybe they're, you know, they don't want, you know, their partner doesn't want anything knitted or whatever. So I wanted to include everybody because I'm such a sucker. So some people are knitting massive lace shawls, or they're tackling color work for the first time. They're doing a color work vest for themselves. Something big, like it has to be big, okay? Big. It'll take you 6 months, probably a year. Knowing me, I'm probably going to extend it to a year. But for the moment, I'm going to try and stick to the 6 month, because anything longer than that is going to be exhausting. So this is a kit that I bought at Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year. It was the Simply Shetland, and this was, this is not Jemisin's Shetland, it is Jemisin's Spindrift, Shetland Spindrift, which is kind of interchangeable, although I don't think that Jemisin's Shetland Spindrift, which is a different country to Jemison Sons, have solely wool from the island. I think they import some wool and they make it there. That's the only difference, really. Now, so I had cast on the button band, and then I took it off the needles and I tried it on James, and it turned out that it was probably about 64 stitches too many. It was too big. So I was like, oh my God, I'm just going to leave out a repeat of the stitch pattern, because that was like 24 stitches. So I was going to be like, oh, actually I'll have to leave out 2 repeats of that, almost 3. And then I was like, oh, it's going to throw off the rest of the pattern. So what I decided to do, now James is a big guy, like he is 6'8". He is, you know, not a, you know, skinny little man. He's a solid tall man. But with the gauge that I'm getting, I actually am knitting the smallest size. I don't want to go down a gauge. I like the fabric that I'm getting. So I'm knitting the smallest size for him. Now, I tried on the ribbing, and the ribbing fits him. Like, the ribbing was almost a foot too wide for him. I was like, this is crazy. So yeah, so I know the sock knittition went down almost to a 2.5 or 2.75 needle. I am knitting on so I cast on again, and this is how far I've got. I am knitting on a 3.25 needle. So I didn't want to go down any farther, because I was like, this is going to be a big enough project by itself. I don't need it to go any longer. And also 360 stitches around is a lot of stitches. So I dropped down to the smallest size. Which is around 60 stitches less, around, give or take. And that makes more sense to me, because then I won't have to worry about like shoulders and steeks and placements and all of that. So yeah. Also, I'd messed up the colors on this rib. I just kept on knitting it at this, and you're supposed to change colors, which I didn't realize. So many colors. I've got it in my little bag that says I'm an Atlantic Knitscaper. I'm going to the Atlantic Knitscape again this year in May. I'm so excited about it. Oh! So that is my epic along, and it's going slowly. I was thinking about bringing it to Edinburgh, but it involves like changing colours a lot, and it's quite complicated. I was going to show Ellie and fruity knitting, but then I was like, it's going to take up too much space. It's going to take up too much space, so I'm just bringing a sock. Just a sock. Maybe something else as well. Maybe. Yeah, so they are the 2 things that I've been working on, or 3 things if you include the weaving, and that I've been working on this week. Now, I've also been doing something quite different. I have started to quilt. What? So I got a jelly roll from Rebecca Palmer Originals, who it's a woman who has set up a little sewing business out in Capamore. And so a jelly roll quilt is a big roll of fabric, pre-cut fabric into strips. I think they're 2.5 inches wide, and they're all kind of color coordinated and they all kind of match, and it's enough to make a quilt top of significant size. I think it's like a single bed, or maybe you need a little bit extra around the edges for it to go down the side of the bed. But anyway, this is the garden trellis quilt that I am making. So I started off by sewing. I actually have a little video that I might put in here. So hello, I thought I'm probably a little bit late to start you on my journey with quilting, but I thought I might film now while I'm at it. So I am making the garden trellis pattern. I'll pop it in here so you can see. So to do the garden trellis, it's out of a book called the Jelly Roll Quilts or something like that. I'll get the details for it and put it down below. But so you need to get all of your dark fabric and get all of your light fabric and separate them out into darks and lights, and then join them two together, dark and a light together. So you sew them together, wrong sides together, and you sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. And then you iron them so that the seams all point towards the dark side. If you see, the seams are flattened over towards that side. So I had tons and tons of these strips. And the step I'm at now is, I'm just going to pop it there so you can see, I am putting these strips print side together so that the seam sides are out. So the wrong sides are facing out, and they're facing out on that side. So I'm putting them together so they match up, and I'm actually sewing them into a tube. I am sewing them, I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam on this side and a 1/4 inch seam on this side. So that's what I'm going to do now. Now, so I probably should have explained, actually, this is the last one I had to do, but when I did sew it into a tube, I made sure that I didn't have very similar fabrics close to each other. So when I attached them, I didn't attach these colors. I didn't put the flowers on both sides. So when I unfold it, when I cut it and unfold it, I won't have fabrics that are too similar together by the same side. So now I've got to do some cutting, and I have no idea how to do that. So I'm going to figure that out, and I'll be back with you. So I've done all of this. There's a lot. So I think with the jelly roll, I think it's enough for like a throw or something, but it's a lot on here. I can't remember. I think it's 8 fat quarters, like size pieces, but they're long strips. I think they're like a quarter yard or something long, and you get 4 of each color, so 4 of each type of fabric and 8 types of fabric. So you get a lot, really, and you can do quite a lot with them. That jelly roll book was really, really good, and the one I liked the most was the garden trellis. So now what I need to do is I need to cut triangles out of these. So I've got a mat I went to where was it? Aldi? Aldi had a mat and a cutter, a rotary cutter, for like €14 or something crazy like that. And then I also got this little Hobby Lobby trolley thing because I was carting around my sewing machine in a box, in the box that came from it. It's not very convenient, but this one has a rolly thing. I'll just show you. Sorry, excuse me. Yep, that was awkward. So it's this little trolley thing. Is cute. I know it's a bit pink. I'm not much of a pink girl, but look at this quilt I'm making. Maybe I'm changing. And also, quilting is the best when you've got a hot cat on your lap, heating you up. So I'm going to do a bit of cutting now. Hopefully, it came with a ruler and the cutting mat and the rotary cutter, so hopefully it'll all work out. I'm just after cutting with this rotary cutter. I'm super careful with the rotary cutter. Luckily, I've done a whole degree in printmaking, which is all about cutting paper. So I should know what I'm doing. Anyway, so I put it at on the triangle there. I lined it up. And oh, I should have lined it up with these bad boys. Oh, that would be smart. Anyway, I think it's okay. I hope so. Anyway, it's done now. I started cutting. So the ruler, these rulers are great because you've got all your lines and everything. I don't really know what all of them mean yet, but that's what I should have done. But look, it lines up. So hey ho, that works. And I've actually, you see these little top stitches there? I've actually unpicked those so that now it folds out. Pretty, right? So pretty. So there is a special way to iron these, but I'll cut them all out first and then I'll iron them. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to iron them facing one way or the other, or if I'm supposed to like flat iron them. I'll follow the instructions. So we'll find out. So yay! Here I go. I've got all this lot to cut. Exciting! So I have cut out and ironed all of my little 4 diagonal squares, and I've put them all together in the order that I want, I think. But I realized that I had a few extra. I was supposed to have at least 80 of those little 4-inch, 5-inch squares. And I actually had 90. So, or I had an extra one per thing. What's it called? Strip. So I did a few practice blocks with the extras. They look really nice from a distance. Okay, I can't see all the mistakes from a distance. That's great. There's so my main problem is getting the seam allowance the same the whole time. I'm getting better at them. Now I realize how important it was, even though I was told. But you don't really know these things until you make the mistake. And to be honest, it's still pretty. I don't really care. So I made 2 of those, and I was thinking of doing a little cushion or something. If I don't need them, if I don't mess up the other ones seriously. So I might do a small little cushion. I think it's really cute. So they're not really the right sizes either. I think I must have fudged up some of the cutting too. But sure, it's my first quilt. I'm not going to be too hard on myself. So I did have one more after doing these. I had 2 more of these 5-inch blocks. So what I did was I cut them, I quartered them, and I decided to do just a little thing just to say that I'd finished something today. So I made a little pincushion. So I had the piece, and then I just cut it and quartered it, and then sewed them together into 2 sections. And then I turned them inside, like I put them right sides together and just sewed them around. Stuffed it full of some Romney fleece I had lying around, and just sewed it closed with a little top stitch there. I could have done that more neatly, but I'm kind of getting tired, so I really want to keep going though, but I think I probably shouldn't. I think I should leave it. I think I should leave the actual quilt until I'm more awake. So this is my quilt top. It will be my quilt top. So hopefully it'll all go right. Yeah. So the idea of the garden trellis, apparently what my phone was telling me to do anyway. I think. So we're putting those squares, the blues together, comme ci comme ça, and then these in there. So like that. So they kind of go, you've got 2 light, 2 dark opposite each other, in the center. And I've kind of taken them from the same thing, so yeah, hopefully it'll work out. So that's where I am at the moment. It's exciting. I know I'm super sleepy, so I need to go to bed really because I've got to work tomorrow. But pincushion and almost a cushion. That's great success. From everything, I just had everything sewn into 2-inch, like 2 strips together when I started this, so really not that bad. Now the cold snap is due to start in tonight, so I think I'm going to get cozy and tidy up a little bit and have some dinner and go to bed. That's a good plan. Yeah, so I can't honestly remember where that video ended up, so I'll just show you that I've made a couple of blocks. I might have shown you these already. That's okay, you can look at them twice. So these are obviously they're not the right sizes because I'm not very good at cutting, but I'm going to be doing like some sitting down and cutting. This is my first ever quilt, so be kind. I decided to, because I like kind of things that are matchy, I decided to do the identical quilts this way. I don't know if that's going to work forever, we'll find out. I should have laid it out, but I didn't. It's my first quilt. So I need to trim these off and iron them properly. I haven't ironed them or pressed them. There was a Craftsy, an open Craftsy kind of class, unlimited Craftsy weekend this weekend. So I watched one of the quilting classes by, was it somebody Einmo, Jennifer Einmo or something? And it was fantastic. She was really, really good. Although she was mostly selling her rulers the whole time, whatever. I'm sure they're great. But yeah, and I learned a lot about pressing and ironing and matching up seams. So that was really, really good. Although I do think the center seams are always really good. But I think I was just a bit lax with the small blocks. I was like, oh, I can always fix that later. No, you can't, Grace. But I think they're pretty good. They're okay. I mean, it's a little bit off here, and that was with the cutting. That's what happened there. And also I think my sewing, my seams weren't always consistent. They weren't always a 1/4 inch. I need to get one of those feet that has a little guide on the side that lets go and keeps you right, because very easy to go wrong. So yeah, so these weren't always cut in the right way. That's okay. It's not really, but it's okay, guys. Calm down. So the jelly roll only costs like something like £21, €21 or something. And then I'm going to get some more fabric for the I might do a border to make it bigger. And I have to buy some batting, and I have to get the backing sheet. And I think I'm just gonna go into Guineas or Dunn Stores or somewhere like a store just to get a flat sheet and use that, because it's kind of cheaper than buying fancy fabric. Yeah, and also it's gonna go on a bed, so I've made a couple. I still have a load to go, so I've made this many's, I think it's about 9, and I've still got a couple to go. So I think I had 80 of these separate ones. So these were extras. I actually had enough to make 90. So these were extras that I sewed into a little bag to hold everything. Handy. Yeah, if I make a mistake, I'll take it out and put it in somewhere. Although I'd be fine. I'd be fine. Yeah, so that's what I've been making. So I will be uploading a video on how I did this. There goes my belt again. My belt popped off earlier on. I may or may not have left it in. So I will be uploading a video on this, so I won't be talking much about it now. So I wanted to talk about a couple of podcasts that I have been kind of obsessed with. So I spoke to you about about Rena and the Slow Knitter, and how you should totally go over and watch that podcast. I will link it below, the interview with the International Virtual Knit Nice hosts. And I also wanted to say congratulations to somebody super special. So it is Vianne, and she has started her first podcast. She's got 2 episodes up. They are in French. She goes by Fait du Brouillard. gotta practice the French mouth. Fais du brouillard. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so I watched her first podcast, her 2 first podcasts, and I could understand about 90% of them. She is an amazing knitter. She's been following me for a while, and she said that I was her inspiration for starting her podcast. It is so nice. She is so sweet, so lovely, an amazingly accomplished knitter. I think she knit like 3 sweaters in 3 weeks. I don't know. It seems like you did, Faye, okay? I'm just calling you Faye. I know that means fairy, but Rivanna is your actual name. Sorry. I keep calling you Fee. I'm like, as in Fiona. I don't know why. But Rivanna, it's amazing. I love your podcast. You have them in a portrait mode. I'm not sure if you're going to flip that into a side like this way, just turning your phone to the side. But your second podcast actually came up like portrait, so I could like watch you portrait on my phone. So that was quite nice. I don't know. It's up, like, it depends on what you want to do, but I love it either way. Well done. It's amazing. Thank you so much. And now I know your face, and now I know who you are, and I feel like I know you so much more. So it was wonderful to see you. Yeah, so that made me super excited to see her podcast, because you don't know who's really commenting underneath. You're just like, oh, this person, okay, oh, there she is again. You don't know who they are. So it's really nice to see your podcast. And you should all pop over and see. And if you do speak French, obviously that's a benefit. And if you want to learn French, you should do it, because it's a beautiful language. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, there are a few weaving podcasts which you may or may not be interested in. I just wanted to mention a few, 2 specifically, which I've been watching. One of them is called The Weaving Show, and it's hosted by Chrissy, who is a woman who lives in Vancouver in British Columbia and in Canada. And she actually, she's a newish weaver. She's a bit more ahead of me. She's got a table loom and a floor loom. But she's still learning, so I'm learning so much with her as well. So if you have started weaving because you're watching me, or just if you are a weaver, you should have a look at her podcast. It's really, really good. She kind of puts out the call for weaving specific podcasts, and she's encouraged a couple of people to do it. And one of those people, who I'm amazed by, is Natalie Boiler, and she is My Weaving World. And she is in South Africa. I was going to say South America, even though I know she's in South Africa. So she is in South Africa, and she is a professional weaver, and she's really, really interesting. They don't really do rigid heddle weaving, which is they do. I think they both have rigid heddles, but they're mostly kind of floor loom people. But it's really interesting to learn where I could go if I wanted to. I have to save up a lot of money to buy a floor loom, but hey, if anyone needs to get rid of one, no, like I'll totally be able to help you out. I mean, that's how I got my wheel. Jocelyn, thank you so much. Ever so thank you. That's not how you're supposed to say it. So I just wanted to talk about those 2. Yeah, The Weaving Show and My Weaving World. If you're interested in weaving, learning more about weaving, those 2 are fantastic. Really, really excellent. And there's not many weaving podcasts out there. So if you are interested, pop on over, have a little look. Yeah. So, I did a live just before this podcast, and I asked if anybody was interested in what people would like me to talk about. And some people said, anything to look out for at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, any of the booths that I'd be particularly interested. So the main booths that I'm gonna hit hard are La Bien-Aimée, because I love Amy, and also what's her name, Fade Lady. Andre Mowry is going to be there, so I really want to meet her. I know it's going to be mobbed, but hopefully I can meet them and be like, girls, I love you so much. I'll have to wear my so faded that day. Remind myself, Grace, wear that so faded. Okay. Oh, sorry, Beans. Beans is asleep on my lap. Want to see? Beans, baby Beans, oh, I'm always wearing black. Black cat, black. Oh, baby. He's so sleepy. Oh, actually, if the light balance goes really bad, I'm like, can you see my little kitty? That was starting to get creepy noises. Now, what else? So there are some, I believe An Quilting Beag is going to be there. Now, An Quilting Beag is a jewellery designer and she designs specifically for knitters. So there, I want to get one of her brooches for my woven piece that I spun, wove, sewed. I want to get one of her penannular rings, which are kind of like, they're a circle, or I think they have a little opening. Some of them are shaped like kitties. I might get those. And they have a ring that's attached so that it's like a shawl pin. But it's styled in the traditional Celtic way that we all, like all the Irish people, would know what they look like, because we were all traipsed up to the National Archaeological Museum, and these are the ones that the Celts would have used. So they're gorgeous, and I really want some. Really, really, really want some. Or one of her beautiful bracelets with stitch marker holders, or necklace with stitch marker holders on them, because I love them. She's a silversmith, and I think she lives on a boat. I think she's in the UK, but she is Irish, because An Quilting Beag is an Irish name for the little cat. Actually, I think it's An Quilting is kitten, so the little kitten. Oh, it's even cuter. If you put "een" on the end of any word in Irish, it makes it small. So, but beag is also the word for small. So I think it's like the tiny small cat, or I think it means like the small kitten. Let me know if you're watching. I don't know if she watches, but she's adorable and she loves Mr. Beans. Who doesn't? But she has beautiful kitties as well. So I really want to meet her, because I've been talking to her on Instagram quite a lot, just commenting under her things, but I love her stuff. And she was saying that the snow was scuppering her efforts to make stuff for Edinburgh. So hopefully she's going. I don't know if she's vending. I hope she is, because that would be awesome. I want to get some nice buttons. I don't know from where. I'm going to wander around for them. Apparently the Border Mill is going to be there. I'm really interested in those guys. That sounds really, really interesting. I hear about them a lot from lots of indie like farmers who send off their yarns to the Border Mill. I'm like so interested to talk to them as a spinner. And people were telling me, look, Mothy and the Squid are vending, which is cool. I think Stephen and Penelope are there this year as well. Yes. Oh, and my friend Eva from Perth Yarn Festival, she's going to be vending at Cosmic Strings. Oh, is that right? Oh, I might be right on that. Oh, Grace, you impress yourself. Cosmic Strings. So I'm really excited to go over and squish Eva really hard. Oh, and also Hannah, my friend Hannah, is going to be on the front desk, I think. So I'm going to squish her super hard as well. I mean, they're just people I'm going to squish. So all my squishes are being held back from last year. Oh my god, I'm gonna release the squish beast. I'm so excited. I'm starting to scare myself at how excited I am. Like I have enough yarn. Said no knitter ever, Nora George Yarns. I can't wait to see her too. I don't think she's vending, she's just visiting. But I'm probably gonna blow everything. I've got money saved. I mean, I was gonna be up for other stuff, but it's actually for every time I put it in, I'm like, Edinburgh Festival. So, I mean, it's for that, right? I planned for this. Don't judge me. Don't tell my mother how much I'm gonna spend at this festival, because she might never speak to me again. Or she might just look at me going, what? You didn't. What? How much? What? I'm like, I didn't spend anything, Mum. I made money. I didn't. I won't. Yeah, sorry. I'm just having a little panic attack about how much I'm going to spend. In a good way. In a bad way. In a good way. Yeah, so, goodness. I can't wait to see so many people. There's going to be so many people. I wonder will I get overwhelmed? I don't generally get overwhelmed at these things. I kind of tend to get an energy from it. I am really extroverted at these things, and then I kind of crash and I'm super tired. I don't know if I actually am aware that I crash. I'm just super tired, but I get really excited, but then I love time on my own as well. But at these sorts of events, it's so rare, like, that I'm like, there's so many people that I really want to meet all in one space. So I think I'm probably just going to explode. It's going to be messy. Oh, yes. So I've decided on a time. Still not sure about the place, but I think we're just gonna, if it's a nice day, we're gonna meet out the front to get a little bit of air at 2 o'clock on the Friday. If it is raining or miserable, we'll just meet just inside the door, like, or just kind of at the entrance part. And hopefully there'll be space. I will be there, and we might move to somewhere else if it's super, super busy. Yeah, so that's the plan. I wonder, is there a cafe next door or something? I'll figure it out. Anyway, we'll start there at 2 o'clock on Friday, and we'll hang around there for about 15-20 minutes, and then we might move off to somewhere else if it's more suitable. I'm probably going to spend about an hour, and then I'm going to head off and do some more shopping and squeezing and hugging and going mad. So if you want to meet me, if you're going to be there, if you see me in the crowd, just come at me, give me a hug. I won't even care if you're, I won't even care. I won't care. Oh, just tell me who you are on like Instagram and Ravelry and stuff, because I don't know your name. Probably. I'm really bad at names, but I do know your Instagram, probably. Unless you pronounce it differently to the way I pronounce it in my head. Entirely possible. But I want you to come up and say hello. Please do, and have a proper conversation with me. And if there's people around me, just like wave mad at me and I'll come at you. I'll come and say hello, because sometimes I kind of keep a conversation going because I'm hyper, and the others probably want me to shut up and leave. So, you know, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Actually, I've been not thinking about it. Just being like, oh no, it's fine. It's just another event. No, it's not. It's Edinburgh. Oh, my pins are supposed to come in this week. God, I hope they are. I hope they are. I need to contact them. I need to email them. I've got lots of stuff I need to do today. So that's all the things that I've been working on. So I need to finish off this garment. I need to finish off this sleeve. And I've got a few extra kind of simpler projects, which I haven't touched because I'm just working on the sleeve. I've just been working on the Vianne sweater, and I've been pulling out the Philias, and I've also been finishing off that piece. So that's fine. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the little videos that I'm putting up in between. I will be doing a podcast before I leave to go to Edinburgh. I leave on the Monday the 12th, and I come back on Saturday morning, and then so I will be putting up a video before I leave to go to Edinburgh. I leave on the Monday, the 12th. So the festival doesn't start until Thursday, but there's stuff going on beforehand, and I'm meeting people that I know from Edinburgh because I went to college there. I went to college, university, depending on where you're from. In the States, it's called college. In Ireland, it's called college. In England and Scotland, it's called university or uni. College is something different. College is something in between when you leave secondary school and before you get into university. It's like an intermediate thing where you do something to get into university, like an additional course or something. It's really interesting, actually, the differences. So that was random. So yeah, I think I'm done. Have I talked about everything? Did I speak really fast? There's only been 46 minutes. Oh, but I'm going to add in stuff to talk about oh, that's fine. Okay, guys, see you later. Have a great, great, great week. And I'll see you next week before we head off to Edinburgh. And I'll talk more about what I'm going to be doing there. I've talked a lot already, but I will talk even more. So I love you lots. See you next week. Bye.